Hello, my name is Neil Hastings. Today I'm going to show you how to set up your site to use a site preview system and have revisionable layouts with the context module. Along with using the context module, we're going to use the state machine module to control revisions and allow you to have draft revisions and workflow. There are several modules you need in order to get this working. I have all those modules listed in the show notes. Please go there and see them. There's also a few patches that are needed and instructions how to apply those patches. So please read those carefully to make sure that everything is set up correctly. Now we're going to go in and do all the site building in order to allow us to have revisionable layouts. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the context field to the page content type. New field, I'm going to call it context. Select the context field type and the context per revision widget. There are several settings here. The allowed block groups tell you which blocks will be allowed to be placed, and this sets up the default contexts. There are two contexts currently available, and we'll look at those. So we're just going to use the default context as our default context, and what that does is when it creates the node, it clones that context. So you have a default block placement. You want to make sure you're cloning the default and not always using the default. That way we have a new version each time. Save those settings. Everything looks great. So now we have the field on there. Let's go look at the context itself and set up a default. So we're going to go ahead and edit. There's two contexts available. We're just going to use the default context here. In future versions of the module probably will only have one version. So as you see, this context actually has a context field condition. This tells you that this is available to use in context field. This is the default one to use. We're just going to add a block, the recent comments block, to the second sidebar. Great. That's all set up and enabled. One more thing you want to do while you're here is go over to the settings tab and make sure you have use context editor dialog enabled. If it's not enabled, you will not be able to use the fancy context user interface. It's really nice. So save that. Awesome. So that's all you need to do to site build to have revisionable layouts. The state machine itself has no configuration in the user interface. That is all done through code, extending the module and adding your custom workflow based upon that. So with that, let's actually look at how we use what it looks like. Let's add a page. Add some lorem. And set it to unpublished. State machine will handle the publishing. While I'm here, I'm going to go back to the content type, edit the page, and just turn off the publishing by default because we really want state machine to handle that. Let's just turn that off so we don't have to worry about that again. State machine will also handle the creating new revisions, so you don't need to worry about that. I would recommend actually hiding that from end users. Okay, so we created a new node, and you see here's a recent comments block that was placed for this revision for this node. By default. That's awesome. So now we have it for this node. So what we want to do now is we actually don't want the recent comments there. What we really want is the recent content. Someone made a mistake. So actually before we do that, so let's go into the workflow tab and publish. Great. So this is a published revision. And this is actually box provided by integration between the interactive information bar module and the state machine module. It allows you to provide actions on the node revision you're looking at. So let's go ahead and edit this revision and add a new revision. One. So the bios is the same, we'll just change the block. We just want to add a new revision, and state machine will do the rest. And what happens is state machine redirects you to the node revision view page. and then SBS module actually takes over that page, redirects you back to what says node 3, but it applies the site preview system for that revision. So you'll see you're reviewing that revision, which is the revision title we got, and when that revision occurred. So you see we're actually looking at that revision. So this is actually really important because this is the only way to really edit the context for this revision. Now before we actually edit the context, I want to show you what's happening behind the scenes. If we go to the structure context, you see that we have these new contexts were created. So one context is what we created for each revision of the node. So this is the node, this is the NID, and this is the version ID. So that way you can either edit the context in here if you want to, or we'll edit in here. With the preview mode enabled, which means we're actually looking at the revision, you want to click on any contextual link for any block and click on the configure layout. This shows all the contexts that are active for this module. As you see right now, context 3 revision 4 is what's active. So we're going to edit it. And instead of the recent comments block, we don't want that one. What we really want is the recent content block. Go back and click done. Click save changes. And stop editing. You notice we're still on this revision. You can tell because it tells you up here and because this has changed. So if we cancel, we see we went back to the published revision, which has the recent comments block. So that's what we did. We just had revisionable layouts. To really do that again, let's go to the workflow. And if you're a content approver, this is a good way to be able to approve layout changes also, if you need to approve layout changes. Click on the title of the revision. It's in draft, and it's changed. You see it's changed over here. This is a new revision. So you could actually even publish it from here if you were. This is really cool. So you can publish it. And let's cancel out the revision state. And see now we're looking at the published revision again. Here's a new recent comments, a new title. So this is really powerful for editorial staff, review staff to be able to approve and view live changes on the site. So that is revisionable layouts. I hope you enjoyed it. Please stick around. Hopefully we'll have more videos up soon. Thank you.